What's up, people of YouTube? I'm Karsatowski and welcome back to the Karsatowski Bowling YouTube channel. So in today's PBA Bowling Breakdown, we have the 2004 PBA Medford Open. So let's get on to the title match. Okay, so this is the title match of the PBA Medford Open featuring Tommy DeLutz Jr. and Pete Weber. And Tommy DeLutz gets his first shot. A lot of Tommy DeLutz's game, at least in his follow-through, reminds me a little bit of Pete Weber. Okay, that ball finishes a little bit light and has just enough on it to carry the 10-pin. And here's Pete Weber. This was the era that he had those weird-looking sunglasses. Not quite the traditional signature PDW sunglasses we're used to, but those were not too bad. And they both start off with strikes. So Tommy DeLutz had 2.5 higher average with a little bit more strike percentage and 5 points more in spare conversions also. 29 and 18 in title matches for Pete Weber. There are a lot of players who would have killed to have a record like that in title matches. And that number has only grown over the last few years after this as well. That ball goes in nice and flush. That ball goes pretty light. Yeah, Tommy DeLutz's backswing is nothing like Pete Weber, but in terms of the follow-through, it reminds me of Pete just a tiny bit though. But overall, his game isn't really too reminiscent of Pete Weber, but I believe his hand position and the follow-through is what kind of reminded me of Pete. That ball finishes perfect. Yeah, I think he knew it at the release point that that ball was going to go dead flush. So this looks like it's going to be a match where these pros will have no trouble getting their equipment to the pocket. Again, it's just a matter of carry. And Pete is going a lot straighter on that right lane. And his ball's finishing real nice. Alright, and Pete is probably the only player on tour. I think he's probably one of 2 or 3 players at this time on tour to actually use a golf glove. That's a perfect shot. I've seen a handful of players still using golf gloves. None on the PBA Tour right now. But there are a few players who I have seen using golf gloves. And an advantage to using a golf glove is it helps you to have a better grip on the ball. I've even seen some two-handed players having 2 gloves. And it makes sense because you've got the balance arm that you've got to kind of stabilize the ball in the backswing up until the release point. And when your bowling ball gets a lot of oil on it, you know, this hand can slip off the ball at times. So having that glove is really good to be able to have a good grip on the ball. Oh my goodness, that was unlucky. Oh my goodness. That is a very unfortunate break for Lonnie Wallachek. My goodness. I've seen Jesper Svensson do that a lot. And a lot of times when that happens, it means that the ball is not rotating correctly to make the pin do what it needs to do. And Tommy DeLutz has an opening Yahtzee. And Pete so far has an opening ham bone. And Pete Weber is trying to get a Yahtzee of his own for these players to go 5 for 5 to start off the match. There you go, that open hand. It's clean release when you have that open hand. Oh, that's high flush. So both players start off with a Yahtzee. So around the early 2000s is when we would start to see players having sponsor patches on their jerseys. Still like a typical polo, pretty much. But they would have all those patches. A lot of the players in the 90s had patches on their pants, which I think is just real weird. And that is an opening 6-pack. Halfway home to perfect game for Pete. Yeah, the patches. So the patches now are pretty much just printed on your jersey. Like you just order them online for the most part, and they'll actually print them on your sleeves. But at this time, they're either sewed on or like stapled on in some cases. I would even say some of them might be Velcro. But yeah, very interesting time during that. That ball goes super light. Lucky to carry a 5-pin. And that is an opening 6-pack for DeLuch Jr. So these players have thrown a combined total of 12 strikes to open up this match. There you go. There's Marshall Holman in the back. Great shot. Great looking shot and a great result. He's 7 for 7 in this title match. Nice follow through, nice knee bend. Ball finishes dead flush for a 10 in the pit. Let's see if Pete can match DeLuch Jr. Perfect shot. That's very interesting how they're playing different parts of the lane on both lanes. That's not easy to do because you have to basically change your entry angle and pretty much your position at the foul line, and your setup is different when you're playing different parts of the lane. And a lot of times they're using 2 different bowling balls. And they're doing that on a dime. Ooh, that ball finishes high flush. All right, that is an 8 ball. Or, yeah, so lucky 7 and an 8 ball, I guess, is what I'm going to call 7 in a row and 8 in a row. I'm still kind of working on 8 in a row, though. But I think lucky 7 is a good fit for it. An 8 ball, I'm more or less referencing pool. And Tommy DeLuch also gets himself an 8 ball. I don't know. I'm looking for suggestions on what 8 strikes in a row should be. I absolutely despise, like, the baggers. Like an 8-bagger, a 9-bagger, a 10-bagger. Like there's no bags in bowling. Like you're throwing a bowling ball. You're not throwing a cornhole bag at the pins. If this was cornhole, yeah, I get that. But we're throwing bowling balls here. Don't call it a bagger at all. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, that was a good shot. Look at that. I'm not sure if he would have wanted to change anything, except the ball went a little bit to the left of that far right tracer. If it would have been a couple boards further right, that would have been a dead flush perfect shot. That is such an unlucky break. Dang. Yeah, if he would have got 9 on that shot, he could have had 9 spare in the 9th frame, and he could have gone out for 279. And that would have meant that Pete Weber would have had to get a strike in the 9th and 10th frames to shut Duluth Jr. out. But now Pete, he just needs to strike in the 9th frame and keep it clean in the 10th frame, and he'll win this. And are you kidding me? It basically did the same thing Duluth's ball did, just missed a little bit left, and now this has become a 1-pin match. Good Lord. Both players open in the 9th frame. Duluth Jr. can strike out for 266. Weber can strike out in the 10th frame for 265. Unbelievable. Oh, that was a can opener strike right there, buddy. Okay, well, situation. I just mentioned it, but they need to strike out for 1-pin match. Pete needs to strike out. Unbelievable. And neither one of them can miss. They had the front 8, and both of them split on the same frame, and they have to match each other in the 10th frame to maintain a 1-pin match. There you go. That may be about the best shot Weber threw in this match. And he needed it the most right there. There you go. So he needs 1 strike to force Duluth to get all 3 in the 10th to win. Oh, there you go. There you go. Pete did exactly what he needed to do in the 10th frame for that. And now it is all in Duluth Jr. hands. Tommy Duluth Jr. needs to get the first 2 strikes and 9 for a tie and all 3 to win. Anything less than that, then Weber wins sitting on the bench. And that is a great shot. Great shot when he needed it the most. Yeah, interesting though that Pete chose to play it straight on that right lane and far left on that left lane, and Duluth is playing pretty much about the same exact line on both lanes. All right, he needs them all right here. Anything less than 10 on this shot, and Weber wins. Oh my goodness. That was such a good shot. That's all it took. 2 unlucky breaks from Duluth Jr. to lose. Yep, that should not have been an open frame in the 9th frame, and then he got unlucky with that 10-pin. Those 2 shots right there is all it took. Yeah, and Pete can't believe it either. Yeah. Yeah, at least wait until the fill shot for that to happen. If that would have happened on the fill shot, that would have been a tie. Yeah, that was really bad timing for Duluth Jr. 265 to 256, a very high scoring match nonetheless. Bowling is a very weird sport at times. I mean, both players had 8 strikes in a row to start off that match, and then both of them open in the 9th frame, and it came down to the 10th frame. And again, if that shot from Deluxe Jr. would have done that on the fill shot, that would have been a tied ball game. But, you know, that happened at the worst time. And Pete did what he needed to do in the 10th frame, and he won. Very exciting title match right there. Well, thank you for the suggestion, Andrew. That was yet another title match that did not disappoint. And if you all want me to do any more of these videos, then be sure to comment down below for any more suggestions. Also, if you're not yet subscribed to this YouTube channel, then be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you'll never miss any of my videos. I'm Karsatowski. Keep watching my content, and I'll see you in that next video. See ya!